Great. So I'm here with His Excellency Anyim, Pius Anyim, one of the distinguished presidential candidates in the ongoing race for the Nigerian presidency. Your Excellency, right away, let me start by asking you, you have been a staunch member of the People's Democratic Party, served as the president of the Nigerian Senate, and also was secretary to the Nigerian government during Goodluck Jonathan's.
Goodluck, yes.
Exactly. So recently, your former boss, if I may use that word, former President Jonathan, technically indicated interest for this same race. What's your reaction?
Well, I know that when I started and as I went along on the race, I was in touch with him, I was updating him. It is certainly not to my personal knowledge that he has decided to run. He hasn't told me. So I may not need to react to what I have no official communication about. So I think I will wait until he tells me that he's eventually on the race. So for now, he hasn't told me. And every level of my own aspiration, I have briefed him.
Great, fair enough. Also, let's talk about your chances. What are your possibilities? What are the possibilities of your being nominated in this process? And what message would you have to the delegates?
Well, what I have tried to put across is one, to highlight the circumstance Nigeria is in right now. And two, arising from this circumstance, we should therefore be cautious of the fact that there is only certain experiences, certain capacities, certain competencies that can fit in to resolve those circumstances. And what I have again tried to emphasize to delegates is that let it get out of their mind that we are just in an election season. Let it be consolidated in their mind that we are in a process of leadership recruitment. If you recruit the right leader, then the right things will start to happen. If you recruit the wrong leader, then everything will go wrong. And we have experienced it in Nigeria. So for me, I have always put on the table that my experiences are the only cognate experiences that anybody can put on the table among all that are in the race. I have been president of the Senate, in which case I ran the Obasanjo government alongside the president, who was the executive head of the government. I have been secretary to government of the Federation, which is the administrative hub, the engine room of the presidency in under Goodluck Jonathan's administration. And when I was in the civil service, I worked in two parastatals under the presidency. In other words, I put it clearly, in fact, in all my public service career, I have been around the presidency. And I am not going to learn on the job. I will simply be in a very familiar terrain. I have clear knowledge of the country. I have clear knowledge of what the problems are. I have clear knowledge of what the solutions could be. And I think I fit in properly to resolve the Nigerian question of today. This had been the message I put forward to the delegates.
Great. And you were also quoted by the Vanguard newspaper, I think that was April the 25th, 2022, saying that you are not stepping down for any aspirant regarding the consensus arrangement. Please, could you tell us about that? Certainly, that does not arise. But let me also say that I am not involved in any consensus arrangement. We met, the aspirants from Southeast met, and we were careful to avoid that word consensus. What we resolved, and I read that communique, was that we are going to work together to make sure that the presidency comes to Southeast. Whoever gets it from the Southeast, that's good enough for all of us. So it's really not a matter of we are agreeing on amongst each other for who steps down for the other. No, we said we will work together to be sure. There are two levels to this, as it were. One, to secure the turn of the Southeast. And by doing so, one person must emerge. The process of the person's emergence is not under discussion for now. So the first leg of that process is to get the presidency zoned to Southeast. And I think that is the agreement we had. We haven't gotten to, at any time, to a situation of discussing consensus or no consensus, or who becomes or not who becomes, but we meant to say, let it come to us first.
So basically, if it comes to Southeast, if it comes to you, you expect others to collaborate and support your candidacy. And if it also comes to any other candidate, you are ready to also give that support. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I still repeat what I have said. If it comes to Southeast, the chances are that Nigerians will have all of us presented before them to choose from, whoever. And I want you to realize that in 1999, the presidential candidates came from Southwest. The Nigerians chose the person they think have the capacity and the experience to run their country. In fact, the person Nigerians chose was, of course, you know, President Olusegun Obasanjo, who was rejected by Southwesterners. But Nigerians will look at the CV, look at your credential, look at your qualification, look at your disposition, look at your knowledge of the country, look at your ability to manage the diversity, and now make a choice. Sure. So I think that when we get there, I will again present my CV to Nigerians. If they choose me, I'll give glory to God. If I am not chosen, I'll give glory to God.
So great. So basically, let me kind of rephrase the question and then add a little follow-up to it. Do you believe in mandatory 2023 Igbo presidency? Why? Why not? And also, could you make a case on why Nigeria should go for an Igbo president this time around?
Well, the word mandatory is maybe too difficult for me to chew, but I want to put it this way.
Okay.
When we call for presidency to come to Southeast, okay, we are not doing that as a matter of battle. We are doing that as a matter of law. We are doing that as a matter of convention. We are doing that as a matter of practice. And the pillars upon which we do this is pillars of equity, the pillars of justice, the pillars of fairness. Section 7.3c of the PDP Constitution recognized zoning and rotation. And zoning and rotation is not new. Zoning and rotation is the foundation of PDP. Recall that in 1998, that is preparing for 1999 election, the political class gathered, and their commitment then was to be sure they recover the country from the military. And there were two agendas which drove the G34, which was the umbrella organization that actually metamorphosed into the parties after the military left. They had two agendas. One, the military must leave. Two, power must shift to the south. So if we are talking about rotation zoning today, somebody may think that there is anything new. It started with the power shift. It's the same power shift of 1999. And power shift was such a strong movement, not even championed by the South across the country. In fact, driven by most northern strong elements, that the power had been in the north for too long under the leadership of the military. It should shift to the south. Now, for that power to shift to the south, the north also needed to be protected. That it is not when the power has shifted to the south, the south will now hold down the power and not allow it to come to the north again. That's the origin of rotation. And they now said, okay, we have to put it down clear in our constitution that there should be rotation. Now that we are saying it should go to the south, that thereafter it should also come to the north. And I know that the 1999 Constitutional Conference report carried this issue of rotation right in the Constitution. It was when the military was fine-tuning the Constitution that they removed that clause and now added Section 13 of the Constitution, which deals on federal character. So it's the foundation of PDP, and it's to protect everybody. It's to protect the South and to protect the North. Now, as well as at today, if we are eventually when they removed it from the national constitution, PDP now entrenched it in its own constitution. Now, the sitting president is from the North. Apart from sitting president being from the North and maybe from another party, the last election was in 2019. There was zoning, and it was zoned to the North, and nobody from the South contested. Amongst the aspirants from the North, His Excellency, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, emerged, and the North supported him. Yes, he lost, but it's nobody's fault. Now, it is the turn of the South for the presidency to return. Why I'm saying this is that it's really, we are not saying mandatory. We are saying, and my position on this is that democracy runs on three certainties: certainty of tenure, certainty of process, certainty of structure. Once any of these certainties is abused, it weakens the institution, and it's no longer democracy. It's part of our process that we should know. It's part of our convention, our practice. It's the rule that we should know the process upon which we are going to travel to get to where we are going. You can't change it midway. We have put it in our constitution. And our constitution, I mean the party constitution. And our constitution is clear on rotation and zoning. So what we are saying, I don't know, that's why I said I could not, I'm not in a position to digest the word mandatory. But I'm saying it is legally the right of the South to now produce the president. It is morally the right of the South to produce the next president. And it is equitable, it is fair, it will tune, it should be a matter of justice. So I think that's my understanding of it. But forgive me if I didn't address the word mandatory, but no. This is the way it is and how it should be.
You did. You did. Okay. I intentionally injected that word to give you that flexibility to be very elaborate, and you were. At least the principle is based on equity, justice, and fairness, as you said. And also, I like what you said about the tenure, process, and structure, being a key, to your quest, for the president going to the South. So that was a good reply. Let me quickly, since we don't have a lot of time, go into another question that is very significant. Do you think that one or two tenures of an Igbo president would erase all the alleged sins of Nigeria against the Igbos? In other words, do you think that an Igbo presidency would automatically end this current violent quest for a Biafran nation?
Well, I put it this way. I am not sure we are talking about the past. Rather, whatever you see from the East today is about the president, not the past. Are you with me? So I don't really think that anybody in the Southeast today is talking about sin against the Southeast or no sin against the Southeast. No. And maybe people's mind will quickly go to the Civil War. Most of us today at the stage, playing at the stage, we're not part of that war. But we have moved on as Nigerians. So we're talking about present. And we are talking about present with respect to the practice that we have come to, stepping as Nigerians. Now, if we are saying sin of the past or no sin of the past, I want to clearly say that that is beyond the point. That is not the point at all. Somebody asked me, what is the most outstanding request of the Igbos from Nigeria? And I will say that my understanding is that the single most outstanding demand of the Igbos from Nigeria is reintegration. Let an Igbo man feel that he's a full-fledged Nigerian. That is all. Once they feel that, look, we have equal right like any other citizens. If we apply for a job, we will get like any other citizens. If we apply for any position, we will be considered like any other citizens. If there is an opportunity a political opportunity to aspire to, we are at liberty to aspire like any other citizens. I think that is all that the Igbos are actually asking for. Nothing more, nothing less. And I want to say that here is the opportunity for Nigerians to prove to the Igbos, look, you are full-fledged citizens that can aspire to the presidency, to the leadership of the country. And because you are a Nigerian, we will support you to be there. I can assure you. And before I give you this assurance, let me take it back. In 1997-98, after the annulment of June 12 election, the South were ready for any form of war. Any form of war. And there was no level of threat, including secession, including whatever, and many other parts of the country joined them, particularly the Southeast. And when Nigeria realized that that was a threat to the unity of the country, both the military and the politicians decided to say, okay, have an opportunity. And the presidency was sown to the Southwest. And that agitation extinguished automatically. I also know that immediately after 1999, that the agitation in the Niger Delta, the militants in the Niger Delta nearly crumbled the Nigerian economy. Oil pipe vandalization and all that, and everywhere was under threat. Immediately their son became the vice president, even before he becomes the president, with the program lined up by the federal government. That militancy evened out. I want to believe that if a Southeasterner becomes the president of Nigeria, the agitations in the Southeast will extinguish, will eventually clear out.
Okay, fair enough. Let me quickly also go into something that was published, I think by the Premium Times. You were also quoted as saying that the PDP will lose if it abandons zoning. And meanwhile, APC is not likely to adopt this process. Now, could you be specific on how PDP's zoning process will determine its political advancement and 2023 victory?
Well, maybe I put it rightly because I'm not sure it's quoted the way I put it. Okay. I know that many people will talk about winnability, and I think that would have been what I was responding to. Many will talk about winnability, that you're from a more voter density area, for which reason you are likely to win, that we should consider winning over and above zoning. And I said no. It is not the population density, it's not the voters density that decides winning. And if it were, the examples we have lately wouldn't have been the same, because the current President Mohamed Buhari ran this election 3 times. Each time he will win in the north, but he will not eventually win to be president. 3 times, until he merged with the South. It was when the South pulled up their own strength, then the North pulled up their own strength, that he eventually won the presidency. So my position is that no region can do it alone. No zone can do it alone. Now, coming from that, I believe that the only reason, the only criteria, the only circumstances and conditions that will make any party win is equity, is fairness, is justice. These are the winning pillars of any election in Nigeria. That was, in fact, it was possible for President Buhari to win because as at that time, equity demands that it was the turn of the North. And the sympathy was high, the sentiment was high, And the South joined the president, and he won. That had always been the case. That was also the circumstances that delivered the victory to PDP in 99. So my position is that if we abandon equity, fairness, and justice, which zoning brings for any other consideration, it will be futile.
Great. Before we go into your final thoughts, let me quickly ask you, do you believe in restructuring of the system? And if you do, as the president, how would you facilitate this process?
Again, maybe I share my thoughts, but not directly answering your question, because each time people talk about restructure, many people have different things at the back of their mind. The meaning, there is no universally agreed meaning of restructure in our context today. But what I know is that the structure the nation started with was a well-discussed structure, a well-negotiated structure, and a well-agreed structure. Before the independence, as we prepare to become a nation, there were a series of negotiations. These negotiations led to constitutional conferences. Part of these negotiations also got to a point that Willinkins Committee was set up to address certain concerns. And I give you a few instances. In 1954, Nigeria, the rest of the country was ready for independence. But the North said, no, look, we are not ready for independence. They stepped it down until they came to a point that they said that they were ready. When the North said they were ready by 57, the minorities gathered together and said, look, we can't go into this union because we don't feel safe. The majority tribes will dominate us. Again, the process was stepped down, and Willinkins Committee was set up to look into the fears of the minorities. And they went around, consulted with the minorities, and proposed a solution. Eventually, the structure of the nation was agreed upon for independence in 1960. After 1960, I'm still talking about structure. After 1960, we came to a point that the Midwestern region now thought, look, that they are capable of being a region. And I'm giving this a stance because people think it's impossible to reach an agreement, to reach understanding, to reach a consensus on certain issues that concerns the nation. I'm just giving these examples. Now, when the Midwestern region sought to become a region of their own, it was presented to both chambers of the parliament. It went around the country on referendum. Every part of the country agreed that there could be a Midwestern region. And the parliament created the Midwestern region under a civilian administration. So the structure of the nation can be discussed, not in a hurry. It can be discussed, and the structure you must deploy must be a structure acceptable and agreeable to every component of the polity, otherwise it will not work. I can tell you that the challenges we have today, or what people are querying today, was what the military did arbitrarily. Now, to build a nation, every person is important. Every group is important. Every region is important. You cannot, because you are in control of power, you impose a structure on the nation and you think others will accept it. No. My position is that we will continue to build consensus. Consensus will be a major platform under my administration to restore confidence in the nation, eliminate mutual suspicion, unite Nigerians again, so that in unison we generate a new patriotism to build a nation. And I want to say that it is not as difficult as many people imagine. It depends on the disposition of the leader. And I can tell you, I have experimented this when I became the president of the Senate. When I became the president of the Senate was in serious crisis. But when I came, the first month, the second month, people realized that I have no personal agenda other than the interest of the institution. And when I put my solutions on the table, everybody now saw that my solution will address your need, address your need, address your need, address your need. Everybody followed me. And we restored the Senate and gave right leadership to the National Assembly. It is still possible. So for me, as a personal program, I won't give you any answer, but all I know is that I will provide the leadership that will inspire confidence to the length and breadth of the nation. And we will commit because we have no other country. We'll come together, agree on what works for us, and all of us will put hands on the table to build the nation.
Great. And on a final note, let's close up with your final thoughts. What message do you have for Nigerians regarding your candidacy? Now, this time around to Nigerians, what message would you have?
Again, I will tell them that I am not coming to learn on this job, that I have extreme, clear understanding of what the challenges are, because I've been in the system in the past 33 years of my life. I want to assure Nigerians that I understand the country. I am that one man that can find a home in any part of the country. I have almost intervened, interacted, and interfaced with people's challenges and projects across the country. And I am fitted to reunite the country, reduce suspicion, build consensus, and inspire our citizens to build our country on the path of growth, on the path of stability, and on the path of prosperity.
Great.
That'll be my message to them.
Great. Thank you very, very much, Your Excellency. I am Pius. And on behalf of the West African Pilot News, I wish you good luck on your presidential aspiration.